Welcome back, everyone, to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. Kevin Horde here.
Lorenzo Fine here.
What's up, buddy?
Oh man, we're just moving on. Another week.
Anything new in the world of California COVID?
No, just things are getting worse, much worse. Weird things are happening. There are reports that things are being underreported, which is terrifying. So
yeah, it's great. It's a good way
that's great. That's
good
cool.
way to meet things head on.
Yeah, it's cool stuff, fun stuff. Yeah, that's what I like to hear as somebody who likes to have information at all times. It's just not having the right facts. Sure, why not?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm just still doing my thing, just hanging out at home, going on jogs.
That's good. It's good times. It's been all work and no play here, but that's all right. I guess there's a little play. My wife and I took a daycation last weekend and headed up to Lake Springfield in Illinois, visited some family, got out on the boat. It was fun.
Yeah.
Found out that my cousin brews some beer, so I'm enjoying that today. That is, his brewing company is Bramling Cross Brewing. I've got a nice English-style porter called Porter's Pardon. I'll try to send you over a link so you can put that in the
description stuff.
Yeah, in the description.
Yeah. So is that like based around you then, or yeah?
No, he's I think he lives in Maryland or Virginia.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So this
nice.
came across the country via his parents to my sister, and then my sister gave it to me. So
nice.
Very
cool.
Little bit of family transmission of alcoholic beverage.
Whereas I have not. I've had alcohol, and I've had alcohol recently, but it was probably the second drink I've had since March. So.
Yeah, this is definitely not my second drink since March.
But
it is quite tasty, though.
I'm sure. That sounds delicious. Because even then, like the last thing I had to drink was soju. That's what I was drinking last time. So partook in that. That was it. So
right on.
I know, man.
So there's some wildfires out by you, no?
Yes. Which is funny because when I was on a hike on Saturday, the wildfires, quote unquote, near me are still like as the crow flies about 45, 50 miles away in Riverside County.
Okay.
But where my hike took me, it's funny because between me and these fires, there is a small mountain range between us and then the next county over.
Right.
So it's like me, 5 to 10 miles is this mountain range, and then like another 30 miles away. But I could still see the smoke like rising up because it is once you notice it, the way a wildfire plumage of smoke looks is a very, very specific sort of thing, right? Where I've pointed it out to my family when they were visiting like a handful of summers ago, and they're like, those are just clouds. You're being weird. I was like, no, there's some wildfire happening over there. And they didn't believe me, and then we went home, and then the first thing I did out of curiosity was turn on the news, and it was definitely like not regular programming. They had the like helicopters flying around, like
right,
like the so like there's definitely like it's spreading. You can see that they're trying to dump water on it, and then I was like, guys, and then with that one too, again, it was that situation where like I was pointing off in the distance. I was like, oh, those are wildfires. That's wildfire smoke. And that one was north, and that also was like 50 solid miles away. So it's just interesting because, like, having grown up in the Midwest where everything's like flat and you just don't see anything outside of like a 10-mile radius, you know? To have something like 45 miles, 50 miles away rise up high enough in the atmosphere that then I can then see that, But I know where the base of that is some 50 miles away. It still trips me out a little bit,
I think you're just proving the point of the flat earthers.
Well, I mean, it still has to go up, then I see the top bit, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's still just wilds me out. So, yeah, it's not the last time I've seen it's not the first time I've seen wildfire smoke from a distance. It won't be the last. There were minor earthquakes over the last couple of weeks as well. So
Yeah.
it's 2020. I'm just at this point fully expecting the big one to hit. I got extra water. I bought some safety whistles.
Nice.
I think the next thing I need to buy is like one of those like water filter straw things.
Oh yeah, like the life straws. I think is what those are called.
Yeah, life straws. So I think I would never ever use it unless it like we know it's an apocalypse if I were to use that straw, essentially.
You can pretty much just drink gasoline with that, right?
From what I hear, basically. Like I think there's still a limit, but yeah, it'll filter a lot out, but yeah, no, it's fine. I'll just keep a bunch of water stocked, so.
You heard it here today. Lorenzo is going to be drinking gasoline on the flat earth.
Yep.
While the fires burn around him.
Yeah, so that's the state of California. I don't, and anything, any other natural disasters happening in Missouri? Like,
no.
I know out east they got the tornadoes and stuff. So
yeah, I guess
you.
the hurricanes have done a funky thing with the weather here. It's first week of August, and usually it's hotter than hell, and we're midsummer. My wife and I just got a pool. We borrowed it from her brother, actually. It's a nice above ground pool setup that we got going on, and then the weather dropped off, and it's been in the 70s, and the water is extremely cold, and we have not been able to utilize that yet. So that's, you got wildfires and I got a cold pool. What can you do?
Yep. The world is wild. The world is wild.
It's very bizarre.
So, where are we actually here to talk about, sir?
We are here to talk about the Clone Wars, Season 5, Episode 10, Secret Weapons. That is a production code of 504, originally released on December 1st, 2012. If my information is correct. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're pushing.
This is another one where
Season 5, right?
Yeah, this is another one where Canada got it a day ahead for whatever reason. So just a note there.
Yeah, I guess Dave Filoni felt bad for like knocking them that 1 week on or 4 days or whatever on that episode a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah,
give him a little bit of bit of extra.
Gets this one ahead. Yeah,
but we're coming off of a 4-parter, right? The younglings, not the Padawans. So this one seems to be a standalone episode. I guess we can get into that later, whether or not this is leading into something bigger or if it just kind of is what it is. Written by Brent Friedman, directed by Danny Keller. First thing I have of note is this is the first time that I remember the Clone Wars logo being blue.
Yes.
Typically it's yellow. We have had the red with the Darth Maul stuff back when Gary was on from Harry Potter Minute. And he did bring up that, the droid episodes are blue, but I don't think we had seen that up until that point, and I believe this is the first time.
This is the one, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what he was probably referring to.
I believe so.
It's definitely blue. It appears to be blue in honor of R2-D2 based on the plot of this episode as we get into it. So
I mean, I guess so, but it's not like R2-D2 blue. It's like classic.
It's a cyan. It's a brighter cyan, like brighter than even the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away font as well.
I think it's meant to be similar to that color, but
right.
I do agree with you.
Yeah, I think also like even if it is the same color, I think by having the thicker logo, that kind of will make a difference in how we kind of perhaps perceive color,
Yes, the pale Lucasfilm blue and the pale or the thin text, I think, skews the color a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly important, but thought it was worth mentioning,
It's of note. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is of note at most.
So our fortune cookie this week: humility is the only defense against humanity. Did you put any thought into this one?
I don't. This one, no, not at all. But it sounds like a sort of Yoda-ish sort of thing he would be saying to the younglings. I don't know.
I was thinking this one is like a straight up Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah. Maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm for it. I'm not against it.
Yeah, it's kind of generic.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't
It's like
know.
a self-reflexive sort of fortune cookie too.
I guess we can come back to this as to whether or not it's relevant to this episode. We've been doing that more lately. In the past, we just kind of addressed
Forget about it.
said who said it, and moved on. But
Right.
I kind of like seeing whether or not it ties back in. So I'll try to remember to bring that back up at the end of the episode. And I guess we'll have to get started before we can get to the end. So the setup of this one or the newsreel of this one is pretty much just a setup for what's going on in this episode.
It's a lot of setup
secret
too.
transmissions intercepted. The Jedi Council has intercepted an encoded transmission of General Grievous. The Republic intelligence officers have failed to crack the code, so they're going to be sending in some droids.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says fear escalates that separatists are about to mount a major offensive. And then I think it ends with essentially a setup of, hey, the
Well, it
Jedi
sets up the actual
figured out.
goal. Yeah.
Go ahead.
It straight up sets up the goal that they want to send in some droids to grab a decoding chip, which is a thing. They're essentially going to try and find the Enigma machine.
Yeah, that's definitely the feeling that I got out of this.
That's literally like they literally just somehow know that there's this Enigma machine that's going to crack everything that they need to get.
This seems. Where do you think they got this information? Like, why have they decided this is what they need to do?
I don't know, because honestly, this newsreel was so dense to me that after coming off a 4-parter and then getting this much of an information dump, I mean, you read like half of it straight up, and it's a lot of stuff. But because even then, like some of it is sort of confusing to me. So they have an encoded transmission. But what we see is that they can still see that it's a message from Grievous.
Mm-hmm.
So then my question is like, what does that mean if it's encoded? Like, are they just not hearing it? Like, why would they be able to see if it's encoded? Why would they even be able to see Grievous at all?
That's a very good point. Like, is the audio just garbled, or is the audio just missing, or?
Yeah, like why is it if it's encrypted? Why did they even get that far? How did they get that far? Why are they able to even get any sort of hologram information on it anyways? Like even if it was like some sort of like garbled image, say like old like channel you didn't buy on old 1990s cable, television cable sort of thing, you know? Like even if you got that much, I still think that would be too much,
Yeah.
Like, if I have an encrypted file, I can see that the file exists, but I can't, like, watch the video on the encrypted video file. You know what I mean? Like,
right. You can't watch the adult film.
Yeah, I wouldn't even
be able to hear
open it. Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to open it or know what I'm looking at. So that's what's bizarre to me about this newsreel. It's definitely just an information dump. Like it's just setting up these stats. But yeah, like once you start asking questions like you did, then to me, like I don't have a problem with it, but it just immediately starts to fall apart.
Yeah, the premise is just kind of not held together anymore.
No, not at all. Like
it's held together by like wet sawdust and rubber bands.
Yeah, like they just know that there's a new encryption. Like I would even be better if it's just like, hey, suddenly they can't spy on these messages anymore. There must be some new encryption. let's go find how this encryption works. But how they even know that there's a what they call a decoding chip? Like, what?
I didn't even think that deeply into it. But now thinking about it, it doesn't seem like they've had to decode any messages in the past. It's just like they intercepted the transmission, and there they go.
And
they have the information from the transmission. Right. But it's also weird because so much of Star Wars is built on the premise of like the communication is like instantaneous, but like the transfer of data is something different.
Right.
You know, they have across the galaxy light speed Skyping, but the plans to the Death Star needed to be on like a hard disk to get where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Yeah, like I said, this newsreel, it was long. Number one, it was longer than our usual newsreel.
Mm-hmm.
Is not to say that we haven't had ones as long as this or longer, even perhaps.
Right.
But it's rare. It's rare that we get one this long. You know.
Okay.
But then, yeah, the information they were selling, I was not buying. Just to start off here. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I would say if you want to start this one, notice the blue logo and jump immediately into what's going on. You don't have to think about it too much.
Yeah, just don't think about it. You know, just take what they're giving you wholesale. So then where does the episode proper actually start?
Yeah. Mace Windu giving a pep talk to some droids. You can see him pacing back and forth, and he's talking to a team saying, hey, we're going to send you in. You're going to be the hope for the Republic. Turns out it is 5 droids, and those droids are R2-D2, QTKT, who is a pink astromech droid. I would assume that this name is in relation to R2KT. You're familiar with R2KT, right?
Yes, yeah.
We've talked about her before. Then we got an M5BZ, U9C4, and the last droid introed is a pit droid, WAC 47. WAC 47 is the only one out of these that vocalizes basic.
Yep.
Everybody else just bleeps and boops. And then we're also introduced to Colonel Gascon, C-O-N, not G-O-N.
Yeah.
Who is a very diminutive, I guess, military officer in the Army of the Grand Republic. He is not a Jedi.
Nope. He's just a colonel. He's a colonel.
Just a colonel. And he is brought in to kind of head this mission, which is to break into some dreadnought and steal the spy boy decoder ring that they need. Yeah. So at this point, I think the Jedi leave and Gascon takes over. He has a surprisingly deep voice. This is definitely a Clone Wars trope of show new character voice does not match what character looks or feels like.
Oh yeah, no, they're definitely going. They're definitely going for Arlie Ermy.
For sure. They should have had Arlie Ermy voice this guy.
I think he might have been dead already.
In 2012?
2012? Oh, no. 2018. Okay, that's when he passed.
Yeah.
Pushed it a little forward there.
Gascon is 0.33 meters tall. So that is, 13 inches-ish?
Something
11
like that,
inches, somewhere around there?
Yeah. A solid foot, yeah. We've never seen his species before, right? This is fresh. This is new.
I believe so.
Because they give some weird back information that he was he fought at Geonosis, and that's how he comes to have the role that he does in this episode.
Yes.
He's like a strategist or something like that, and
we do get to that later.
Right.
There is no setup as to why this guy should be leading this mission, right? but as soon as we're introduced to the players of our stage here for this episode, Mace Windu gives the old "May the Force be with you," takes off. All the Jedi leave. Anakin kind of caresses R2's dome on the way out, and other Jedi that we see are Ayla Secura, the really old guy from that one episode where Ahsoka lost her lightsaber. I don't remember what his name is.
Oh, right.
And those are all the Jedi that I remember.
You noticed more than I did, honestly.
So anyway, the Jedi leave, and then Gascon lays out the plan, and it's very detailed. We're going to get on the ship. We're going to level C. We're going to walk down this hallway. We're going to do this. Then you're going to grab the thing. Then we're going to leave. Yep. All seems very straightforward. Yep. Immediately, Whack and MG, as I'm going to call him, Meeber, kind of clash personalities. And this is present throughout the entire episode. Yep. From here, we move on to a droid upgrade room.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see what, I guess what is going to help drive this plot forward. This part didn't really make sense to me. So these droids were selected because they're the ones that are going to be able to go and complete this mission, but then they're also taken to the droid upgrade room where each of them is given their special Power Ranger skill, right?
Yeah, they're each given an upgrade that will be of specific use to this mission. So it's essentially a giant Chekhov's gun scene, right? And they're literally pointing at it. They're like, hey, here's Chekhov's first gun.
Right.
Here's Chekhov's second gun.
Right.
The only one that doesn't get an upgrade is Whack.
And that's Whack.
Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to say this. Whack is annoying as hell to me. Because there is, they try and play a few jokes in there where he, cuts in front of the line of astromechs as they're headed to the upgrade room, and he's like, hey, you astromechs follow behind me, and then he immediately runs into the wall. And then
I thought that was pretty funny.
All the astromechs are like, what? All right. In different beeps, or I don't know. I was just no, just no. For me.
Did you catch the little subtle joke upon his entry? He's like, "Sorry, I'm late. I thought you said I was supposed to report to the Jedi storeroom, whatever that is."
Right.
As though he misunderstood Jedi War Room.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Clever little joke there. That one slipped in. But yeah, this pit droid Whack is definitely, I guess, supposed to be the comic relief, but then he's also I wouldn't say the voice of reason, but the voice of the minority of the droids in this episode, and vocalizes their kind of resistance to Gascon's attitude, right?
Yeah.
Toward them.
I didn't read it that way. I sort of saw him as this episode's Petro, is how I saw it. So
okay,
where I felt like the other four droids were like, okay, we got it, we understand the mission, cool upgrades, cool, and we know exactly what these upgrades are for. Cool, Colonel, we got it, we understand the mission. And then Whack is like, nah, screw your plans. I got my own plans, and we're going to do it this way, even though nobody agreed to any of this, and I'm the hired gun. So
okay,
that's how I saw it. Yeah.
I think we have a difference of opinion. Maybe we can reconcile
We'll see.
Towards the end here. We are introduced to another new character, and that is Dr. Goobacher.
Yes, who if Colonel Gascon is Arlie Ermy, this dude is definitely Peter Lorre. He's got the full Peter Lorre accent going on.
Okay.
So,
he's also the same species as the floating tentacled three-eyed alien from the box.
Yeah.
Box. but he speaks basic here.
Yes. Again, I don't understand the accent. Like, I don't understand why they went this route. Which the person who voices him is
It's D. Bradley Baker, right?
yeah, D. Bradley Baker. So I was like, what? Because like he's like sort of overly obsessed with what he's doing to the droids. He's like, ooh, R2, we're gonna give you yes, new thrusters that'll keep you in the air longer. Ooh, yeah. And you, Q2, you get this cool magnet thingy that just just pulls in whatever it needs to do.
There's definitely some slight weird eroticism going on between him and the droids.
Yeah, yeah. It's beyond admiration.
I wonder if we see this guy again.
I don't know.
So let's run through the upgrades. You kind of mentioned them briefly. R2 gets some rockets. Like, he already had rockets, but he's getting, like,
They're upgraded.
better rockets.
Yeah, so they're upgraded so he's more stable and he can fly for longer.
But at the same time, Gubacher says the controls are touchy or something like that. Like, be careful. Like, these upgrades are powerful but dangerous. Then we have U9C4, who gets a laser cutter. This laser cutter is like a freaking laser cutter on steroids, and I'm wondering if it has a kyber crystal in it, because the beam that shoots out of it kind of acts like a lightsaber later in the episode, where it's like a solid beam that's just like cutting around the room. It's bizarre. Who else we got? QT, as you said, gets a floating electromagnet.
Yeah.
That works on any metal within 7 meters. So 7 meters is over 21 feet. So this doesn't seem like it would be a particularly effective thing, especially housed in a metal droid on a spaceship where everything is fucking metal.
Yeah, this one made sense to me in how they mean to use it and then do later in the episode. But I agree with you. When they were explaining it, I got really confused on how this works and the actual purpose of it, like, at this point. Because I agree with you. Because how does this work inside of an astromech to begin with? Like,
I think if you just leave out that 7 meter thing, you just... Okay, you got she's got a magnet drone in her head.
Yeah, you got a magnet drone that you can point and choose what you want to draw to the thingy, you know.
Right.
Like, that is what confused me. I was like, oh wait, but wouldn't it just stay forever attached to her head at this point? Like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's like an electromagnet, so she is able to control the magnitude of the magnetic force.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
I'll buy it.
I did just look it up, by the way, and Gubacher looks like he makes one more appearance in Catalyst or Rogue One novel. So I don't know if he's an active character in that. It does not say mentioned only, so we'll have to hook up with somebody that has read that one and find that out. But we have one more droid, M5BZ, who is just referred to as BZ through pretty much all of this episode. He does not so much get an upgrade as he does a lobotomy.
As his body is used however they want to use it.
Gubacher says that he's going to take out his memory core so that Gascon can have room for his command platform. So basically what they do is they gut his head and they build a little deck in there and put a little chair, and Gascon sits in it. It's very reminiscent of Men in Black. Yes. Where there's like that tiny alien inside the jeweler's head or whatever. Yep. The guy that holds the galaxies. The galaxy and stores it in Orion's belt. Right.
Yeah. Good reference. Yeah.
That's what I got out of that one.
Yep. That's it. Yep.
And it's pretty sad that they're gonna gut a droid's brain out. I mean,
and again, because Gubacher is like taking weird erotic delight out of it.
Yeah.
So again,
he's like rubbing his tentacly fingers together, like I'm going to do the extraction myself.
Yes.
He might as well be licking his lips, and you just like see one hand disappear like off screen, down below. Who knows? Yeah. So that happens, and then they all head to the ship, and they take off. Whack has some stuff to say to MG. I don't remember that interchange specifically.
It's something like why didn't I get an upgrade? And MG is like, you're the pilot. You don't require upgrades because you're just a pilot.
Right. You're the fucking pilot. Just pilot.
Yeah, and then Whack gets butthurt about this, and is like, "I'll show you just a pilot." And then what does he do? He fucking flies the ship. Well, he flies it straight towards the Separatist ship without telling anybody that he's gonna do that.
Yeah, Gascon is like, "Hey, let me know when we arrive," which this should be obvious. Like when they drop out of hyperspace, that should be when they're arriving, right?
Right.
And he was like, "Because I've devised a plan to get their attention." I don't know what his plan would be.
I don't. Yeah, I got
it. Doesn't really matter because, like you said, Whack is like, "Ooh, I already did that. Don't worry." And his Whack's plan is to just set a collision course, which gets them tractor beamed and then pulled into a landing bay. His plan works quite well, I will say. For a droid making a dumb decision like, oh, the way I'm going to get their attention is to crash my ship into their ship, it works well.
Right.
And quickly. So then everybody exits the ship, right? What happens after that? We do get a nice Empire, like that klaxon, like alarm when like the Millennium Falcon is like pulled in. Yeah, that one. I did like that little auditory callback or call forward or whatever you will. I won't call it an Easter egg because it's just
all the same universe. Yeah, right. It's just another detail in the universe.
Yeah,
because they get taken away all because the Separatist droids come on. They're like, "There's no life forms," and then somebody's like, "Well, just take the droids for interrogation, anyways. Figure out what they know. See what's up."
So they're taken in for interrogation. They're in some hallway, and R2-D2 just turns around, like attacks the battle droid behind him. Then somebody attacks the battle droid in the front, and then Whack jumps on one and is like pummeling it in the face with his fists or whatever. So that's done, and then I guess they come across a locked door. C4 is straight up called C4 at this point. What droid was that? U9C4. And I was like, oh, he's going to be the dumb droid that like blows shit up on accident because he's C4.
But why are these, like, why is BZ and C4 called by the second half of their call names, and then like R2 is R2, you know?
I mean, C3PO is called 3PO sometimes, so.
Right, but for the astromechs though, why nobody calls them D2?
Maybe
it's just weird because like
maybe his friends do.
Sure. So Luke's not his friend.
I don't know. I think it's just like, some people call people by their first name, some people call them by their last name, some people call people by a combo. There's nicknames. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just weird to me because like I feel like we have generally always heard the first two. Because like you're shortening it, right? You don't jump to the second half for the most part.
Yeah, K2SO is the same. He's K2. Nobody calls him SO that I remember. I would imagine if you looked into it, it probably happens more often than you realize. But I do agree with you. It's probably either normally like the full version, R2-D2, or just R2. But I have no proof for that. You can look into nicknaming of droids, if you like.
They call Whack, don't they?
I mean, Whack gets called all kinds of shit. MG calls him Cyclops like the whole time until the end, or near the end. And he does say multiple times, he's like, basically, my name's Whack. I'm Whack. I'm a Whack droid. I'm not a Mac. I'm a Whack.
Which, so that comes about midpoint. We're almost where that exchange happened, so I'm just going to address it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That exchange was really weird to me because Whack takes offense at Colonel Gascon not calling him by his correct name, but Whack at the same time keeps calling the Colonel Corporal.
Yeah.
So, like, I get what they're trying to do. I just also felt that it was just... I didn't know what to get out of that exchange.
I almost felt like Whack was doing it on purpose. Maybe not to fuck with this guy, but this guy is treating them like... not even like property, just like assets for the mission.
Right.
And so Whack is coming back by not recognizing his title and by misidentifying him, right? Mm-hmm. This guy's being a dick and like, hey, you guys are just droids. You Flat Top, you Goldie, you Blue One, you right. Cyclops. So Whack is being disrespectful back to him and not calling him by his title, right?
His proper rank, yeah.
Right. That's kind of what I got out of it.
Okay. It's just... It
doesn't necessarily come off as intentional, but I feel like there's intent behind it.
Right. Because it just kind of leads back into my original question of like, so like who chose Gascon for this? And then who chose these 5 droids and why?
The Jedi High Council, according to...
yeah, but it's still... I need a scene of that decision making.
Okay.
So,
hey,
that's a separate sort of thing, but...
I get that.
Yeah.
To get back to some plot stuff,
yes.
C4 is a fuck up and like uses his supercharged laser cutter and fucks up the door lock and cuts some shit all over the place. And this is where I said that this laser cutter beam acts more like a lightsaber.
It's like a lightsaber, but then it's also with a like fire hose.
Yeah, it's also like propulsive almost.
Yeah.
Because
the Peter Lorre scientist, yeah,
said like make sure that you lock down first, which is like so weird. Like the droid doesn't need that powerful of a laser torch,
right?
That it's gonna blast him across the room, which it does in this scenario, which alerts some battle droid, I guess, watching some readout that tells the tactical droid, who I guess is the commander of the ship, with your secret decoder ring being housed on the ship, I feel like a tactical droid probably wouldn't be the best commander. Like, probably want somebody like in person, but who knows? This is what we get. What happens at this point? Do they get the door open? Do they not get the door open? I don't remember. But
well, no, because like they weren't even trying to open the door. They just needed him to cause a temporary power outage. So that it fucked with the security settings, which he does.
He did accomplish that.
He accomplished that. So then they had to go from wherever they were to the actual vault with the Enigma machine in it.
Okay.
The whatever.
Right.
So then that works, and then this is the point where there's the 2 battle droids stationed outside of the door protecting it, and then this is when Whack is like, I'll handle this, and then
he's sent in as a distraction.
Yeah.
And I thought that I really liked this part. Like, he walks up and just says, hey, General Grievous said I gotta do this thing, so you guys need to listen to me.
Right.
Follow me. And then he orders them into a closet.
Yep. And he's shuts it. Yeah.
He's like, you guys stay there so you're not in my way and you don't get damaged. And then he closes the door and he quotes MG and he says, that's the way I like it. No questions asked.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it works. Yeah.
I was like, right there, like he knows who this guy is, right? He knows who Gascon, like he's taking Gascon seriously, but Gascon is not taking them seriously.
Right.
Which I think leads proof to my theory that he is being a dick back to Gascon because Gascon is being a dick to the droids, right?
Yeah.
And then the next thing that happens, this is where the door unlocking thing is, right? And MG like has BZ roll up and try to unlock this door, and he gets fried, and BZ is now dead, and all the droids are like, "What the fuck? You killed Kenny," you know?
Right.
And
then this is when we get like a big reveal of the episode for this episode.
Yep.
In that it turns out that Gascon doesn't actually have any like tactical mission experience. He only has tactical planning experience or something like that, right? Is that the distinction that is made?
Yeah, it's something like that. So Wack calls him out for being a map reader, and he's like, "No, I'm not a map reader. I'm just able to survey the situation and make good plans based on charts." And Wack's
From
like,
a distance.
"Yeah, you're a map reader. Like, you don't have any actual experience." And he's like, "Well, no, I've never actually been to battle." And I don't remember if it's here or if it is slightly later. But I think Wack calls him out again. He's like, "Yeah, but you fought in the Battle of Geonosis. Like,
I think that's right here. Yeah.
that didn't prepare you for like the unpredictable or whatever." And he's like, "Oh no, I didn't actually fight." Oh, I guess that's what spawns this conversation, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Look at that. I'm putting things together.
That's all. Yep. That's all right here. So that basically brings up all of that. But nonetheless, while that argument's happening, R2's like, "Okay, I'm done with this conversation," and then turns around and then
opens the door. Like, no problem.
Door. Yeah, it's like not even an issue. Because I guess what happens before is that
Probably plugs into a power outlet or something like that.
Yeah.
That normal Star Wars tropey thing where like the only droid that is competent enough to unlock a door is R2 because...
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess R2 does it. He sticks his dick in a power outlet at some point in time and fries his ass, right? In
Something
Empire,
like that.
I think.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. It's confusing because like there's no visual differentiation between what they're poking into. Like I think it looks like they're just poking in the same thing, but R2 for whatever reason like is just gentler with it. Yeah. So like that. Yeah, I got nothing there.
I got nothing either. I do have a note that said the droids take a stand, and it's at this point that Wack is like, "Look, we will proceed forward with this mission, and we will use your plan, but you're going to respect us. You're not going to call us any stupid names. Like, you're going to use our given names, and you're going to give us some respect, and then we can work together on this, and that's how we're going to get through it."
Yes.
Any thoughts there?
It was fine.
Okay.
I mean, sure. Yeah. For where I get what this episode's like trying to get at, but yeah, it's fine. This scene plays fine.
Okay. So BZ's untimely death here, I guess, sends another power surge, and then tactical homie number 1 is notified again, and I guess he thinks something is fishy, so he says he's going to head to investigate by himself. They get into the end game room where the secret microchip of Destiny is held in between like 2 laser beams elevated off the floor. Floating. It's a very bizarre Enigma machine hideaway type deal.
Yeah, it's being like for the Enigma machine, it's being guarded like the freaking Allspark, basically.
Yeah. Now, do you think that it being in this laser beam contraption, is it in use? Like, is it able to be used? Do all communications have to filter through this ship?
Again, I have no idea. None of that makes sense to me because, like, technically speaking, all the generals should have their own Enigma machine to decrypt whatever's coming through, or decode whatever's coming through encoded, right?
I don't really have a
a
response.
Wouldn't that like be how it works? Because like let's say I'm trying to decrypt something from my end, I don't send it to the cloud to decrypt that. You know, like, hey, we just received a secure message. Send it to that ship on the other side of the fucking galaxy.
Send it unencrypted to that ship so they can encrypt it and send it where it needs to go?
And then they need to send it back to the same ship to decrypt it.
Right, to send it back to them?
Yeah. Like, wouldn't somebody then just be like, oh, we got the encrypted version, send out more pings, because somewhere then it's floating around unencrypted, you know?
Maybe this is how the Jedi Council figured out where the MacGuffin of decryption was housed, because everything was being routed and rerouted through that ship multiple times.
One ship? I don't know.
And they were only able to grab communications on the outward end of that ship, not the inward end.
I don't know.
But only the outward end. Only stage 2 or stage 3.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I'm even lost by what you're trying to explain. So,
I was thinking so it goes from ship A. It's supposed to go to ship A, from ship A to ship B. So leg 1 of the journey is to Enigma machine. Leg 2 of the journey is encrypted. Leg 3 of the journey is from ship B back to Enigma machine. And then stage 4 of the journey is decoded.
Enigma back to B.
Yeah, so they're only able to to connect or steal the info on leg 2 and 3. But that is neither here nor there. QT uses her magnet head thing to like suck the mines out of the air, which is exactly what it was designed for, and entirely super convenient. And then they all do somehow like shrink down small enough that they all fit down inside her dome, which leads me to believe that there was plenty of room inside BZ's head, that he didn't have to have a lobotomy before this mission, right?
Yeah, also, like, I don't know, because it looks like there are a lot of mines floating around, but yeah, not enough to fit inside of...
They were probably all
KT's
within a
head.
7-meter radius, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
R2 uses his rockets. He's going to fly up and grab the thing, but then the tactical droid comes in, and then there's a standoff, and then R2 turns off the gravity. There's some dialogue between characters in basic. It doesn't matter, because you can see everything that's happening here. Like I said, R2 turns off the gravity, and then C4 uses like his laser cutter for some chaos and shit, and then QT in a turn of events like deploys the mines that she had in her thing to attack some droids. Is that what happens?
Yep.
More R2-D2 rockets. I don't know. He grabs the thing. There's like a fight between Gascon and the tactical droid, and then also Whack to kind of keep the tactical droid under control or something, and then R2 is able to grab the decoder and then turns the gravity back on. Everybody crashes to the ground. The tactical droid has Gascon in a death grip chokehold, entire body chokehold, I guess, and R2 lets go his magnetic suction cup thing and smashes down, effectively knocking the head off of the tactical droid, but not necessarily incapacitating him entirely, because the tactical droid sends out the intruder alert, which is different than his normal tactical droid voice, which I really like the tactical droid voices. It's a mouthful.
I assumed that it was like in case of malfunction, just automatically set off the...
But then why specifically would it be intruder alert? I mean, what if one of these droids like fell down the stairs and snagged their head on the railing or something, ripped their head off?
Right. I have no explanation for that, but I mean, there are a lot of conveniences that have happened.
Okay, so it's just like a redundancy program to, if this thing is disabled, it's going to maybe call back whatever was in the memory and send out the proper alert.
Yeah.
I'll dig that. That's cool.
There's some sort, because it didn't seem like this, like, head popped off, then head made the decision to send this out. It was like head popped off and then the alarm went off.
Okay.
Right.
I'm down. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So at this point, the only thing we need to do is escape. The route back to the ship is obviously the route that they took coming here. So we do come across BZ again, and R2 essentially gives a beep bloop no man left behind speech, and Gascon actually agrees. He's like, yeah, we can repair him on the shuttle. Let's grab him and go. We're all getting out of this together. They do encounter a string of battle droids, and the battle droids are basically like, get out of the way, you stupid astromechs. And then Gascon says this lame thing or whatever, like, ooh, the last person a droid would think would betray them would be another droid. And I guess that was the basis of this mission. That's why they could sneak behind enemy lines or whatever.
Right.
And then they head back to the ship. They take off with no problem at all, even though they used to have a tractor beam attached to them, and the ship probably should have been guarded by some super battle droids or something, because it was captured and droids were removed for interrogation, but they're just simply allowed to head back up into the thing.
Yeah.
They jettison out into space. Before they jump to hyperspace, there's like a nice little communication. Gascon is kind of trying to take the entire credit. He's like, my first mission a success, and then R2 says some stuff, and all of a sudden he can understand R2, and Whack doesn't need to translate. Because he's just going to reiterate the dialogue there, and the dialogue is basically like, yes, you are correct. It was a team effort. We all did well. Maybe you guys will actually make good soldiers after all. And then he turns around, stares out the window, and I don't even remember if they blast off into hyperspace or if that's it. Iris in.
Yeah.
Cue loud music, end of story. There you go.
Yep. All right. Yeah.
What kind of thoughts you got here, buddy?
I'm just gonna jump into it. I didn't like this one. I just didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. This is one where, for whatever reason, I just could not connect with. You know.
Okay.
I could see that the pieces are there, but it's just something about the tone at the start versus the tone that they're trying to strike at the end just didn't match up for me. The tone of the first joke that they try and set up with Whack, if I am to take him seriously and his demand of like, hey, we're to be respected and we have names and use those names, but if the first kind of two things that we get out of his character is that he is late and has like a pithy joke, like, I couldn't find the storeroom, and then the second thing is that he runs into a wall,
Right.
Like, that doesn't set him up high for me as a viewer even, right?
Okay.
So then by the time he starts making those commands, where he's like, hey, take us seriously, it's like the reverse of the whole like Han Solo thing, right? Like, we see Han Solo as the badass because he like shoots a guy, like the whole shoot first thing is even an aside at that point, but like, we don't see him bumbling around like Mr. Magoo and then later have to take him seriously,
Okay.
So it's stuff like that just kind of, I just couldn't get into it. Like, to be honest, it just lost me right away, and for me, it never recovered.
Okay.
Leading in with the Peter Lorre alien is just a really long, weird aside. And then the Colonel, I just couldn't get into him either. I don't know. Like, there's just nothing redeeming for me to like be interested in here. R2-D2 is the only character we know in this whole arc.
Yeah.
So then it has a lot of groundwork to make me care about these other characters, and it just does not do that at all. Like the fact that they picked up BZ to like carry back is clearly supposed to be like this like bonding moment, and I just didn't care.
One might say necessary bond.
I just didn't care. I didn't care about BZ. I didn't care about KT. Didn't care about Whack. I really hope Whack was gonna die. I just this whole episode I just didn't care. So that's what I've got.
So what do you say about the fortune cookie here? And I wanted to clarify, at the beginning of this episode I said humility is the only defense against humanity, and that's totally not what that's what I wrote down.
That's what you said. I didn't even catch that's what you said.
That is what I said, but what the actual fortune cookie is humility is the only defense against humiliation.
Yes.
Man. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with this episode at all.
Well,
like
I can understand
who's
the.
I guess this is supposed to refer to Gascon's character growth.
I don't know.
I guess.
Even for Whack, like, just like growing a sense of humility on both ends, because again, with Whack being the latecomer.
Mm-hmm.
And then trying to like be the boss, running into walls, and then at some point, like again, there's no turn for me, right? Like he's this wacky nut job who makes poor decisions and is like, no, I'm the cool one, and like there's no, if. There could have been a sense of like growth from humility with the first two things, but they don't earn that, because out of nowhere he's just like, you listen to me, buddy, I'm a droid. That's the closest I can try and get to connecting this fortune cookie to this episode. But then suddenly that just made me realize there is no actual fucking character arc for Whack at all. So like,
do you think, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to give you my opinion. Do you think that we're going to see Whack again?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's going to be more that's happening with these droids. Like,
so is this not a one-off? Is there more to come?
Because if they mention that they're going to fix what's-his-face on the ship, and then we see him go on the ship, and then like there's nothing else happening, there's no like happy beeps coming from him or anything, we're going to see him come back in some form. Okay,
I totally just saw this as like the, they went and they did their adventure and they got out. They're on the ship. They're headed back to Coruscant. Like you didn't need to see or show anything else. Like everybody came to a close on it was a team effort. We did it. Let's go.
Well,
mission
I'm curious if
succeeded.
I'm curious if they're going to do anything with the Enigma. I'm just going to call it the Enigma officially from here on out.
Sure.
I wonder if they're going to do anything with this Enigma chip thing,
Yeah,
because like that does seem like too big of a concept to be like, get that, and then we'll never speak of it ever again.
Fair point, but I do feel like we have definitely had those MacGuffin episodes before, where it's get the MacGuffin and then we never hear about it again. I mean, think all the way back to Cat and Mouse with the fucking stealth ship.
Yep, and we never saw that technology.
Never again. We are 100 Clone Wars stories past that. Never even been mentioned.
Nope.
Done.
Yep.
Admiral Trench has come back, but never have we talked about the invisible steel penis ship.
Yeah, you think invisibility ships would be like a thing to covet, but no.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just drop in here. I give this one a thumbs up. It's silly. Not a lot happens. The big action beat is one room with a tactical droid, and I think maybe a couple of battle droids with him that are thwarted by no gravity, in which they must be in a semi-gravity area near a planet or something, because everybody in this little squabble is able to almost swim around, right?
Yeah, gravity in the gravity and microgravity and lack of gravity in the Star Wars universe has always had a lot more viscosity than
Yes.
would actually work.
This gravity is, or lack thereof, is quite viscous.
Yes.
I like R2. I like these individual droids. I think that the upgrades are kind of silly, and I honestly believe R2-D2 could have accomplished this mission without Gascon and without anybody else.
I will agree with you there.
They could have shot R2-D2 over there.
Also, I don't think he even
through
needed
space.
Yeah, I don't even think he needed the rocket boosters. He could have just suction cupped his way up. You know,
He also already had rocket boosters. They just
Right.
gave him different rocket boosters.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
So, yeah, I do think that R2 could have kind of done this by himself, but I did enjoy the droid-to-droid interaction, and I also liked the fact that it was like essentially a group of droids versus another group of droids. Like, the droid army, you know, it's like the good guy droids versus the bad guy droids. Gascon's character of like being able to be inside this you know, lobotomized droid was not necessarily a positive, so it's kind of the underdog's triumph, despite the fact that the person that is supposed to be superior is there to help them, even though he's not actually helpful, and they overcome that bigotry toward droids, right?
Yeah.
I liked it. It was fine. It was a silly, fun episode. I enjoy that the show seems to be taking itself slightly less serious than some of the stuff we've had in the past. It's kind of a light refresher for me. So
Yeah.
that's in defense of droids. There you go.
All right. Anything else on this one?
That's all I got. But if you want to let us know one way or the other, if you're pro droid like Kevin, or if you're anti-droid like Lorenzo, you can head on over to notthenerds.com and hit up all of our social media links. I'm thinking there's probably an email link there as well. We haven't plugged the email itself in a long time, and I think that's notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com, if I remember correctly. Yeah, hidden somewhere there, maybe my cell phone number. Probably not. That would be silly. But also our YouTube playlist, so you can comment directly in that fashion. You can also like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. You know, all that jazz. Behind the scenes people would be Kevin Warren over at They Call Me K-Dub on Twitter. Lindsay at strangefantasymusic@gmail.com, and at Blue the Beard, who is Anthony, our website designer. At Blue the Beard is on Twitter. Next week, Lorenzo, we have an episode titled A Sunny Day in the Void. This is an episode title that sticks out in my memory as being something that I remember people talking about when it came out. I have no fucking clue what is going to happen, and I have zero expectations.
Yeah, I have no memory of this title at all, so I'm curious what that reference may be. So,
yep, I got no idea, but I guess we're gonna find out next week on These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. I've been Kevin.
Lorenzo here.
Again, these aren't the nerds you're looking for.
Bye-bye.
Adios.